First, welcome to the video. Today we will tackle the retirement cash trap and why excess savings in a high-yield savings account can slowly erode your nest egg when inflation outpaces interest. We will lay out a clear plan to right-size your emergency fund, redirect surplus cash into strategic investments, and proactively manage future taxes using Roth conversions. We will also remind you that the goal is a life well lived, not just a spreadsheet victory. Now let's preview what we will cover. Next, here is our agenda. We will start with why high-yield savings accounts can quietly lose purchasing power. Then we will set a target for emergency funds. After that, we will discuss where to send surplus cash, focusing on diversified, low-cost index funds. Subsequently, we will cover RMDs and IRMAA, and how Roth conversions can mitigate future tax burdens. Then, we will walk through a step-by-step action plan. Finally, we will ensure your plan funds experiences and generosity, not just accounts. Before we proceed, a brief but important disclaimer. This content is educational and general in nature. It is not financial, tax, or legal advice. Tax rules change, healthcare rules change, and personal circumstances vary widely. You should consult a qualified professional who understands your full situation before implementing any strategy discussed here. With that said, let's examine the cash trap. Now, the cash trap. Even a high-yield savings account can be harmful when interest rates fall below inflation. The nominal dollars increase, but the real purchasing power declines. This is especially common when rates cycle downward. Retirees with strong pensions and supplementary income often accumulate excess cash since their monthly inflows exceed expenses. While cash is essential for emergencies, parking large and growing balances in savings becomes a drag on long-term outcomes. Therefore, once your emergency fund is full, holding more cash is usually counterproductive. Let's define how much cash is enough. Next, we right-size the emergency fund. Start by listing your monthly core expenses and multiply by 6 to 12. Choose the higher end if your spouse plans to retire soon, your income sources are less predictable, or you anticipate medical variability. Once you have reached the target, cap the HYSA and stop adding to it. From then on, redirect those recurring deposits into your investment accounts. This shift preserves liquidity for true emergencies, while ensuring that surplus cash participates in long-term growth. Meanwhile, compare the roles. The HYSA provides immediate liquidity, principal stability, and federal insurance protections, making it ideal for emergencies. However, the return often lags inflation over cycles. In contrast, a diversified, low-cost index fund in a taxable account provides market growth potential, but introduces volatility and taxable distributions. Because of this, taxable index funds are better suited for surplus cash with a multi-year horizon. In short, keep emergencies in HYSA and pursue long-term growth in broadly diversified index funds. Now let me explain the flowchart. Income arrives from pension, Social Security, and any part-time work. First, it funds monthly expenses. Next, any remainder fills the emergency fund until the 6 to 12-month target is reached. Once the emergency fund is at target, surplus cash is split. A primary flow to the taxable brokerage invested in broadly diversified low-cost index funds, and a tactical portion earmarked for Roth conversions. Decision points ensure you only execute conversions up to a chosen tax bracket threshold and confirm the emergency fund remains topped off. An annual review loop checks allocations, spending needs, and tax bracket room for the following year. Next, here is a practical sequence. First, audit your cash and compute a specific emergency fund target between 6 and 12 months. Second, automate the cap by redirecting monthly surpluses from the bank to your taxable brokerage. Third, invest with disciplined simplicity using diversified, low-cost index funds. Fourth, optimize asset location for tax efficiency by placing less tax-efficient assets where appropriate and considering after-tax yield. Fifth, schedule annual Roth conversions, filling your chosen tax bracket while being mindful of potential Medicare premium surcharges. Sixth, model your RMD path to anticipate required distributions and their tax impact. Seventh, rebalance and reassess after life changes. Finally, allocate money intentionally to experiences and charitable priorities. Additionally, Significant traditional IRA balances can compound into large required minimum distributions later, increasing taxable income. Higher income can in turn trigger Medicare premium surcharges through the IRMAA mechanism. By using today's positive cash flow to execute planned Roth conversions, you can shift future taxable income into the tax-free bucket. Coordinate conversion amounts with your current tax bracket, available deductions, Social Security timing, and any anticipated capital gains to avoid bracket creep and unexpected surcharges. Annually review these elements as rules and personal circumstances evolve. Now consider the mind map. The central idea is retirement tax buckets. The tax-deferred branch covers traditional accounts, which benefit from tax deferral but impose required minimum distributions and create ordinary income, potentially affecting Medicare premiums. Levers include Roth conversions and qualified charitable distributions. The Roth branch highlights tax-free growth and withdrawals and typically no required minimum distributions for Roth IRAs, though there are 5-year rules and contribution limits. Levers here include staged conversions and careful bracket management. The taxable brokerage branch emphasizes liquidity, favorable capital gains treatment, and potential step-up in basis at death. But dividends are taxable and behavior risks exist. Tactics include tax loss harvesting and asset location. Moving on, this pie chart shows a sample allocation intended purely for illustration. 10% is held in cash for emergencies and near-term spending. 60% is in global equity index funds for long-term growth. 25% is in investment-grade bonds for stability and ballast. 5% sits in an opportunistic or alternative sleeve if appropriate. This is not a recommendation. It is a framework to prompt discussion about your own risk tolerance, spending horizon, and tax profile. Furthermore, this table provides example emergency fund targets. Stable single pension households may aim for approximately 6 months of expenses. Households where a spouse is retiring soon might prefer 9 to 12 months or more. If expenses are variable or health concerns are present, consider 12 months or more. If you have frequent travel or large purchases planned, maintain a separate short-term cash set aside in addition to the emergency fund. Now a quick knowledge check. The question is, once your emergency fund reaches its target, what should you do with ongoing surplus cash? Option A. Keep adding to the high-yield savings account to be extra safe. Option B. Split it between multiple savings accounts. Option C. Redirect deposits into a taxable brokerage invested in diversified, low-cost index funds. Option D. Withdraw it all and hold physical cash. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to redirect deposits into a taxable brokerage invested in diversified, low-cost index funds. After securing adequate liquidity in your emergency fund, allocating surplus cash toward long-term growth helps protect purchasing power and compound wealth over time. Next, another knowledge check. The question is, which is a core benefit of using surplus cash to perform Roth conversions? Option A. It eliminates all taxes forever. Option B. It shifts future withdrawals into a potentially tax-free bucket and can reduce future required minimum distributions. Option C. It guarantees higher market returns. Option D. It avoids Medicare altogether. You may pause the video now to consider your answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is that Roth conversions shift future withdrawals into a potentially tax-free bucket and can reduce future required minimum distributions. This may lower future taxable income and help manage exposure to Medicare premium surcharges. It does not eliminate all taxes, guarantee returns, or exempt anyone from Medicare. Now let's talk about quality of life. Intentionally set aside a joy budget for travel and experiences that matter to you. Consider purposeful giving, potentially through donor-advised funds for convenience and tax efficiency. Above all, align spending with your values so that your optimized finances actively support the life you want to live, not the other way around. In summary, cap your high-yield savings account at a specific emergency fund target and stop adding once you reach it. Redirect surplus cash to diversified, low-cost index funds to pursue growth. Use positive cash flow to execute strategic Roth conversions. Plan proactively around required minimum distributions and Medicare surcharges. Revisit the plan annually and ensure you allocate resources to the life you want to live. Finally, let's wrap up. High-yield savings accounts are for liquidity, not indefinite hoarding. Inflation risk means idle cash can lose purchasing power over time. Invest your surplus intentionally and manage taxes to protect your future self. Up next is a final thank you and your call to action. As a closing note, thank you for watching. If you found value here, please like the video, share it with someone planning or living in retirement, and subscribe for more content on making smarter financial decisions. Comment below with one action you will take this month to escape the cash trap and one experience you plan to fund this year. I look forward to reading your thoughts and questions.